Good morning, kiddos. Miss Auda here. This video is part 2 of our fluency practice for grades 4th, 5th, and 6th. So 4th graders, 5th graders, and 6th graders, make sure you have seen the first part of our lesson for today. It's titled March 30, grade 4 through grade 6 Fluency Part 1. In this video, I will be practicing or reading along the passages with you. So I will be reading 4th graders passage first, then 5th, then 6th. So 5th and 6th graders, you can fast forward the video to get to your passage. 4th graders, I will be reading along with you first. All right, so let me go ahead and make this bigger. All right, so the title of 4th grade passage is The Woodsman and the Lost Axe. A woodsman was chopping wood beside a deep blue lake. He whistled as he chopped, happy to work in such a beautiful place. Without warning, he stumbled over a root and lost his balance. When he reached to steady himself, his axe slipped from his hand and into the depths of the lake. The woodsman tried desperately to recover the axe, but he was unsuccessful. Recognizing that his means of earning a livelihood was lost, the woodsman began moaning in desperation. Just then Mercury, the messenger of the gods, appeared and asked the woodsman why he was despondent. After the woodsman described what had happened, Mercury plunged into the lake and retrieved a gleaming golden axe. "Is this the axe you lost?" demanded Mercury. The woodsman assured him it was not, and Mercury disappeared beneath the surface again. Soon he returned with a silver axe in his hand. "Is this the axe you lost?" demanded Mercury. The woodsman said it was not, and Mercury dived beneath the surface yet again. This time he returned with the woodsman's axe. "That's it!" exclaimed the woodsman. He embraced Mercury and thanked him profusely. Mercury was impressed with the woodsman's honesty, so he presented him with the golden and silver axes as well as the one he had lost. When the woodsman returned home that evening, he told his co-workers what had happened. One of them decided he wanted to experience similar good fortune. He hurried to the lake and threw his axe into it. Then he sat down beside the lake and pretended to cry. As before, Mercury appeared and inquired why the man was crying. When he learned the reason for the man's grief, Mercury again plunged into the lake and brought up a golden axe. "Is this the axe you lost?" demanded Mercury. "Yes, that's it," the man lied. He grabbed the axe greedily. Mercury did not like being deceived, so he took the golden axe away from the man and refused to recover the axe the man had thrown into the lake. Thus, the man ended up with no axe at all. But he did learn a valuable lesson about the importance of being honest. All right, 4th graders, you can go ahead and stop the video here. Go back to the beginning and practice reading this passage again. 5th graders, your turn. A streetcar museum. During the early part of the 20th century, people rode trolleys or streetcars in some cities. These streetcars were small railroad cars that operated on tracks. The earliest streetcars were pulled by horses. They were introduced in New York City almost 200 years ago. Later streetcars were powered by electricity, which came from overhead wires or from underground rails. The use of streetcars decreased after the First World War, when city leaders began to replace streetcars with buses. Today, people can still ride streetcars in a few of our nation's cities. They can also see examples of streetcars at museums. For example, the Shoreline Trolley Museum has almost 100 streetcars. The people who created this museum carefully selected the streetcars on display. They wanted to show their visitors all the different kinds of streetcars that once existed. Visitors learned that most streetcars were built during a 30-year period, now called the streetcar's glory days. The oldest streetcar at the museum is about 140 years old and still looks in good shape. People who visit the museum usually start with a guided tour of the exhibits. They learn about the history of streetcars, how streetcars use power to run, and how streetcars affected people's lives. They also see objects such as photographs, streetcar schedules, and tickets. Next, they may stop by the workshop at the museum. There, they can watch workers repairing streetcars and preparing them for display. Most visitors end their visit to the museum with a ride on a streetcar. The ride takes the passengers along a scenic 3-mile route, traveling on rails that have been in place for 100 years. Like the other streetcars at the museum, these streetcars are furnished to look just like those used long ago. As the passengers listen to the screech of the brakes and feel the side-to-side movement of the cars, they travel far more than just a 3-mile route. They also travel back in time. All right, fifth graders, you can stop the video here, rewind to the beginning of this passage, and read it again on your own. You can pause the video if you don't want to hear my voice, or you can keep it playing so I can read it along with you one more time. All right, sixth graders, your turn. Wondrous wet world. A tropical rainforest is like no other place on Earth. With its dense canopy of trees and amazing variety of animal and plant life, howler monkeys, boa constrictors, and giant spiders are but a few of the inhabitants of these lush forests. If you were a weather forecaster for a rainforest, your job would be easy. You could give a consistent forecast for almost every day of the year. Today's weather will be hot and humid with a 90% chance of rain. Tropical rainforests are located just north and south of the equator, the imaginary line that appears as a belt around the globe. Although tropical rainforests cover only about 7% of the world, more than half of the world's wildlife resides there. We don't know for sure how many different plants and animals there are, though, because the rainforest is so inaccessible. Scientists are still discovering new animal and plant species in rainforests. In the Amazon rainforest, for example, scientists have counted at least 2,000 species of butterfly, and on just one jungle tree, they found 200 different kinds of ants. Many rainforest animals live their whole lives in trees that can grow as high as 200 feet. Animals such as colobus monkeys find everything they need in their lofty tree homes and rarely descend to the ground. Rainforests are endangered, and some are quickly disappearing though. People are chopping down the trees for wood or burning the forest to farm the land. This means that the animals that live in the forests are also disappearing. Scientists worry that the destruction of the forest will have dangerous effects on global weather patterns and that many plants that might provide valuable medicines will become extinct. Fortunately, people around the world are working to preserve the rainforest ecosystems. You can help by learning more about these forests and sharing what you learn with others. If you avoid buying endangered rainforest animals or plants or products made from them, you reduce the market for them. You can also find out what different groups are doing to save the rainforests and consider helping them. Your help can make a world of difference. All right, grades 4th, 5th, and 6th. That's our practice for today. 6th graders, you can stop the video, rewind, and watch it again.